What's going on, everybody? My name is Jay Shep. I'm the CEO and host of The Journey with Jay Shep. And here today, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm being professional because I'm with you as a doctor. But look, I'm going to have to do it like God knows, but just, all right, give me a second. Okay. TalentedOnes Media, hashtag TL Media, hashtag TL Podcast, hashtag The Journey with Jay Shep. Because this is what we're on today. And I got last say too many hashtags, feed hashtagging out. I'm the back end. I your host Jay Shut. I don't know why I was trying to be also professional, but when you have the education in the room, and when you have a guy that's committed to helping people, not only in the medical field but also in your household, this guy's trying to help your relationships. He's trying to keep God together. He's trying to make sure that y'all not splitting apart. I know one thing right now. I think in households that look like F, I would say that the households that look like us right now, I think we have the highest divorce rate. I would have to say that it's across the board, but by the same token, it's more amplified when it comes down to the Black community. Right. I mean, we don't want that to be, we don't want that to be the end of it. We want everybody to stay. And no matter if you're Asian, Caucasian, Venezuelan, so amazing. Bro, we want everybody to stay together. But I think today, we are talking about haymakers. The book we have over here is guys' office, had this doctor, but this book they has called The 3-Day Getaway, a fun platform for couples relocation. Dr.Waugh, how you doing today? Man, I'm definitely blessed, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak to everyone. Peace and love to your audience. And for one thing, denting divorce, or hashtag denting divorce, is my tagline on Instagram. I also have Instagram, TW Speaks Now, and the 3-Day _ Getaway as well for IG, but I'm still developing and expanding when it comes down to the message platform. But as of right now, that's where I am, and come visit. So I guess my first question would be to you, why? What are your why behind you making a book like this and having, as a unique, not act the first, let me ask this, why? Why was this topic like you just want to write a book about it? What got you said, I'm going to take this, please? So it's really a long story, but I'm going to shorten it. While I'm working with patients, one of the areas that was very interesting is that my background is in physical therapy. So even though a lot of people don't really take in consideration that psychology is one of the areas that we have to have, because you have to highly motivate individuals to do things they don't ordinarily want to do. So I just happened to be a vessel when men were having their issues. They wanted to talk to somebody. I just happened to be there while trying to get them the law. And it was just profound that individuals felt really comfortable to talk about their relationships, and among other things, but their relationship. And then eventually, when you get men to talk to men, it became very interesting to understand, well, the bigger question was, did you communicate that? And why aren't you communicating? So as I started collecting, data about why are men having these problems, it became really why don't I try to spread the question to the late? And as I found that there were some issues where either men didn't feel safe to want to talk, or women felt like they weren't being heard. So now you have these canceling interference, or what was normally called destructive interference in physics, where everybody is trying to either talk or not talk, or vice versa, but it just never got to that point. So I decided I need to do something about this, because that's what I do. I'm helping with individuals with health and wellness, and that just happened to be. So, like I said, long story short, I decided I need to go ahead and start talking about this with couples, or individuals separately, but bringing it to couples. And I tested on a couple of couples, and they're married today. So I figured, well, it must be something to it, because they're still together now, and they utilize the getaway as part of their ritual, if you will, to reconnect. So why a 3-day getaway? Now, why not a 5? Why not a whole week? Why not a month? Where it's hard to get away from a month and that and do all the stuff. But, why specifically in your book and in his teaching and this ideology, why we specific for us in 3-day getaway. So 3 days, 3 is a prime number that is universal. Move on. Number 2, I mean, if you want to get biblical, visas died. A few days later, road again. But the biggest reason is because of everyone's time and opportunity to do something that's well worth it. Because most things are done on a weekend. So why not get away on a weekend and make it something special? So it just offers a more convenient way for individuals to find a way to just get away instead of trying to be Monday through Wednesday. That's probably not going to work. Sure. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it basically breaks it down in the dark.
For sure. Now, I'm going to ask you this. I want you to break it down. I do want you to just touch on what is the first day, the second and third, and out. Like I said, we need you to sell them, but we need y'all to buy it. We're not going to break it down all the way, but what is on the first day, the second, and the third day?
The first day is really the intro to get into the mood, to get into the ideology of what is transparency, to get comfortable and start becoming comfortable. And the second day is, I would say, probably the harder day, because that brings you into really discussing and having to commit at a deeper level, because the whole day is spent on working on each other, learning each other, understanding yourself, but being able to work on communicating not only yourself, but also learning how to listen. Then the third day is really that finishing up to kind of bring it all together so that both can, write down, because a lot of this is still writing down, but it also gives you an opportunity, and I didn't have a word for it, but it offers an opportunity for individuals to just see what it is that they went through so that they can now set their goal so that they can be progressive when they leave. Because the whole idea why a lot of relationships or couples don't really make it is because they don't have goals from the shop. So,
and I'm going to come back to the last thing you just said, but
the second day, which says the hardest day, you are going to be learn and dive deep into your partner. And why do you think it's so hard for people to run each other? Is it because they have to deep dive, and it's like also you got to reflect on yourself too before you judge somebody else, or what do you think exactly it is? So I have a quote, and it's in the book, that says a lot of people know how to run to the window, but hate looking in the window. So when it does come to, all right, I need to be able to be both, but I need to be especially critical about who am I. But so if I can't express who I am, how do I know someone else can understand? So it's absolutely necessary to have to deep dive. And it's not that it's so hard, it's just how hard you make it. So if you decide to make it hard, it is going to be hard. Go into yourself, understand yourself, and it gets easier the more you're able to take yourself and you actually analyze who are you, what do you like? Do you like vanilla ice cream? If you like vanilla ice cream, cool. But as you get older, you might decide you like vanilla and strawberry. But it's your mate or the person that you're with doesn't understand that, over time, I like strawberry. At least they know that. But it's just learning yourself, but it's also listening, because it's really about speaking, but it's listening.
And I feel like nowadays,
the job in Kentucky City. So I feel like we're dealing with the social media era where I feel like if a lot of things going in your ears, then maybe not a lot retained. In the studies when you talk about with the couples, was listening something they had to learn again in this process? So, number one, if you don't know how to listen, then that's the first problem. The second thing is, what are you saying for someone to want to listen? So the other part of it is, if you're saying something, how are you saying? So there are so many avenues when it comes back to the unfortunates where, how often do people listen to how you say it versus what you're saying? So right now, when we bring up social media, a lot of people are looking, but they're not necessarily talking or listening. They're just reading, which is great from a reading standpoint. But if you go back 30 years ago, we didn't have it. But when it came down to who are you, most of the time when it came down to men had to work off of their rap. So that meant they had to talk. That's why rap was such a popular music at one time. But now I don't know where it's going. I don't want to get canceled, but I don't know where it's going now. But the point is that in the 80s and the 90s, right, when people talk about what was going on with rap, you normally hear people talk about the lyricists or that was going on back then, and they were saying something. Right. So it's about now, why are we letting something go when we don't have to? Let's go back to what did work. If it ain't good, why are we trying to fix it? So let's now meet one-on-one. I'm not disputing, this thing with the text message or the social media or these apps. I'm not discouraging anyone to use it. It's a platform. It's an opportunity. But if we're going to get to where we need to go, you need to come in contact with a person, because you can't marry somebody over a screen, or you can't start learning a person over a screen. So if you're going to learn a person, you look at that person, you got to be with that person, and you got to do things with that person to really know, is that somebody you want to be bothered with? All right, Doc. So now that we're back, I got a question for you. We were talking about off air. We were talking about music. Like, we're talking about music, and that's what, for my audience, y'all already know how I love music. We talk about music all day over here. You were talking about how the music can help in this process, in this getaway. Can you expound on how, without giving away the secret, but just the theory in general, how can music help out a couple? So, in a short version, one of the things about music is it's a frequency. So they did studies about how music can either, with plants, either it can enhance or it can destroy. And they found that certain music can actually enhance and certain music actually stunt their growth. Well, one area that is really important, because I love music too. I used to be a actual radio announcer at Fort A&M at WAMF, RTC, HBC, Justin Duty. So one thing that was very important was jazz. Now, it's a little different format now, but that was one of the areas that I really did love. And, shout out to Lindsey Sargent, if anybody ever gets a chance to talk to him, because he was really instrumental in me going to a radio station. But knowing that music is very instrumental, back in the 80s and early 90s, rap was so popular. Everybody talked about the lyricists of music. So when it came down to my book, what I wanted to do was I wanted to get us back to talking. And music offered a platform, because a lot of music that we had was really music that showed us how to talk to women. And sometimes it offered an opportunity for women to actually listen to what it meant to feel like a woman about what is this man talking about. So there are a lot of differences on now versus then, because they don't have that type of music now. Well, I'd really like to know, I know I have an idea, but I really would like to know, are we going to allow ourselves to continue this pathway, or are we going to change? I feel that's an interesting thing that you said. I'm talking about the music part. Both are interesting, but when I'm talking about the music part, it always is like when I talk to my peers, my TLC, and I'm talking about the state of music. Before you got rap, you got hip hop. Nowadays, it's starting to be low sold because it's easy. You go ahead in the food. It's easy. It's sex. It's money. It's lifestyle. Not to say he's topping to what talked about in the 90s and the 80s, but I think there was more creative deliveries, right, when it comes to that. Because now it's a little easier for ads to help. It's about a feel now, right? It's not about the lyrics. So I like how, in the sense, I'm saying, like, communication kind of like connect to music, because if you can't talk, if no one's talking about anything in music, and it's not what you said, this is what I'm saying. This is a J. Shep quote. If there's nothing being talked about in the music, how can someone learn to talk to somebody else in a relationship? And I'm going to say this too. There's a Jamie Foxx quote in his stand-up where he was talking about, and you don't have nothing else. He's on the piano being over. Is in the stand-up version he had, or he was like, You know, when you don't have nothing else to say, he's sometimes you just put the phone to the speaker. You let Luca do the talking tonight. Right. And nowadays you don't have a Luca to do the talking to be. And me think that not for the younger couple. And this is what I'm gonna ask. I happen to go name there to lead way into this. For the younger couples, how do you think their communication, I know not even I ask, but how do you think their communication can grow if they can't learn it from generations before?
So they have to be humble about what it is that they want. Which goes back to the goal. If you want to learn how to communicate, all you got to do is just open your mouth. But the thing is, we're so quick to swipe left, swipe right, go into, and, you know, like I said, I'm not going to speak to certain artists, but there are certain artists that when you really listen to their song, all you hear is booty, booty, booty rocking every week. So if that's the only intent of the conversation, if that's the only intent of who you're with, then fine. If that's all you want, then ladies, stop complaining. But if you are saying that you want more out of this relationship, then let's talk about what kind of music will offer that mood. What are we actually doing when we're sitting listening? Because oftentimes music is subliminal. Marketing is subliminal. How to get products out to get you to do things, many times are subliminal. Right. Product placement is subliminal. So when you think about the idea of why is it so important for music to have a theme, to have a not just the beat, because that's a whole nother topic. Right. But the lyrics of what you're listening to.
Would you rather hear, you know, would you mind if I say, can I hold you tight to the morning light versus, you know, my this, my that, I got my neck doing this.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. If you are saying that you'd rather hear about the sexual act of what should go on in the back or behind the door versus in front of the door, and you can show what it means more so. If you can't really figure out which way you want to go with it, then don't do anything at all. But until you realize that that's what's being sold, they're not going to change.
Me think best to, what it sounds like to me is that there's a missing piece, because I like that you just said too, because one is the goal, but two, I think nowadays we're not, and this is what I see a lot of leading. There's a lot of things where it's, I'm quite afraid, a lot of surface, but no one's talking about the roots of what's some of the problem is. And I'm here all day, and the alcohol used to say, like, social media people would be like, these girls ain't shit, or these guys ain't shit. And I want a rich person. I want this thing, or the dude, I want a girl who ain't been with everybody, and this, that, and the third. And all that is preference. But I always wonder, do you think, and nowadays, just because everything was so vocal and toxic and it's so spewed against each other, do you think it's a time where, or do you think there's hope for us that, can we get it right?
So again, we got to be humble. We got to actually ask ourselves, who am I and who am I to project to someone else?
So when you hear people talking about valued or high values, or what is it about this person, or they're not this or they're not that, but you got to ask yourself, what makes you the authority to tell someone else that they're not?
So you have to take inventory and accountability for yourself before you can actually say, well, who is that person? So one of the areas that are, and I have to say this, it's missing. There's energy between the masses. See, masculine or it's spitting. Until we realize that there are those energies that are coexisting and they are the yin and the yang, they have to work together. It doesn't matter what your preference is, your sexual preference. If you don't have a male energy or a masculine energy and a female or a feminine energy, you're going to be bumping head.
I'm only saying that in that case, but not trying to be,
I know I'm sorry.
but the reality is that you're going to be in conflict. And half the battle is, well, when are you going to get to peace? A lot of people love war because there's, and I hate to say it, but there's constant benefits in war. Look at the government. Look at how everything is about trying to make a bottom line based on war. Well, if you're two people that are at each other, there has to be an alternative or an ulterior motive to why you have war, because peace doesn't really feel comfortable. And we oftentimes aren't comfortable with peace. I've said this many times. A lot of people hate when they see the person smiling over there, sitting by themselves. They wonder what's wrong with them. Yeah, but how often, if you sat by yourself or you sat with someone and you were happy, how that energy can be infectious. You got to be close. So we just we don't like positive. And normally, if you see something that's normally not right, chances are you're not helping it to be right. So this goes back to the book. If I know who and you tell me your truth of who you are, then let's try to find a peaceful and a practical way to compromise to make it work.
Doc, out the light on this, some I can stay here from the coat.
He knows right here some sides. Yeah, my head doctor over there. He knows what he's talking about. But I'm glad you said let's get back to the book. So one thing I want to ask is,
from a guy who knows to write,
was this process for you writing his book, was it more challenging because it was thought-provoking and it was thought-provoking, like it's a couple that I know you are married first and you're dealing with other people, especially talking about your own personal experiences? Or was it just fun? Was it just fun to put this together and be like, you know what, I've been thinking about this a minute and I just love this. What was that process like? So writing, first of all, I'm a scienceman, in some ways math, but mainly a science. So writing, I had to develop. Going through grad school, we have to do a lot of writing. We were there, okay. So I had to come up off of my attitude of, I don't want to have to do all this right. Well, the bottom line is that what I noticed is that the more I started putting ideas down, the more I started coming up with ways to get my thoughts out, and then I started pulling it together. It wasn't that it was so difficult. It was that it's that motivation to start and to complete it. See, and, we talk about, actually your motto, is it the journey or the destination? Well, actually, the reality of it was it's the journey. Because what I got out of that was how people during the process were either improving or they had a chance to really reevaluate them so that they can restart to improve. So I have a whole saying about, well, is that it? Because if I decided to finish, well, then is that all I can do? No. So let me do more. Let me try to do more to help. So that's just the bottom line. So the writing part is challenging, but for those that are artists that are or authors that want to try, I just say write. Just start writing, and eventually when you get to the end, go back and put it together and see what happens.
And Doc, I'm glad you brought up that motto. The Lola gets said, boy, inside about the journey of the destination. So what I really want to ask you is, we were asking about you and your experiences, because you answered that with the book. I want to ask you this. Do you think they should care about the journey to get to where their goals are? Or do you think the couples should care about the destination of where this is where we should be, this is where we should go, this is where we want to be? Do you think they should care about the journey of them or the destination from them?
Both. Because the journey is the process of coming together to make the destination ultimate. So if the goal is accomplished, what better than to actually feel that accomplishment together, which brings you closer.
I found Dr. Freddie, that part says the doctor.
I think that's going to be, I mean, answering the question thoroughly. You know, some people, some people stumble. Some people like, I know that it quit. You know, but that's what I mean. It's going to be a question. I got something that's real quick. I ain't even married and that. I think one thing I do want the audience to know, before I think we ain't wrapping this open, I want you to just let the audience know first, let them know your social medias where they can find you, character. And then I want you to know what is something that every couple can take away from this book. So I begin with my social media is TW Speaks Now. That's Instagram, as well as the 3-day getaway, but it's 3-day_getaway. And to be honest with you, and that's all, well, you know, I haven't done the Facebook stuff and all of that. I'm just doing the IG side of it. And I'm trying to see where I can build from. But for the most part, what they can get from this is to develop accountability, to learn. And again, you read the book, so we're not going to really talk about the transparency side, but that in itself develops a sense of comfort for the two people. Because if you can't be comfortable in that state in front of the person that you call the one you want to be with, then you really are having problems with establishing whether you like the person to develop love. So I want them to take away creating a like environment so that they can see where love takes. Love and happy to stick them like they do around. Yes, indeed. But if they can put in right, you come on now. Well, then that's that. So, guys, you just heard Dr.Waugh's social media right here. Come closer. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm editing this, so I'm going to zoom it in. Make sure you follow me on my first name is King_J Shep on IG, X, and not Twitter anymore. Make sure you're following our social medias at _TalentedOnes _ Instagram. And make sure you go onto our website, www.TalentedOnes.com. You can find hoodies like this right here on sale and getting hot. I'm trying. Hey, look, these are in the stores right now. We're trying to clear house. These are going right now for $30. And if you pick this video, and then we're gonna come up with a great discount code. It might be $25, but if you click on the website and it ends up being $30, and you were just ambitious, don't cheat the neck of it. But I want y'all to go get this book. With Amazon, go get this book. Amazon, the 3-day getaway, not the 1, not the 2, but the 3-day getaway. A fun platform for couples communication. Guys, if you're married, if you're a new couple, if you're in a situation, trying to get out of that situation, you gotta like each other, but y'all just arguing. They just arguing. We all know what that is. That. Yep. You get this book. It's an amazing read. I'm finishing it up, and then I'm gonna read it in the world, and so I'm gonna take all the teaching. Maybe one day I'll do my own 3-day getaway. Maybe, but in a positive way, not in like a way like he's struggling, but like y'all care, doesn't matter. I want to say thank you so much for coming on our show. This is The Journey with Jay Shep. This is on TalentedOnes Media. Make sure you subscribe to us, and we will see you soon.